All right, we're going to talk some Broadway, which is whoa. It's a sports show on ESPN, and yes, but it's a Broadway show. Goes by the name of Bronx Bombers. It opened last night. I did go with my wife, and as I said earlier, I absolutely loved it. And I read the reviews today, and usually the New York Times is kind of tough, and I thought that was a pretty nice review. And the star of the show is nice enough to come in today. He's got a show today, and for him to do that, we really appreciate it. The spotlight is on Peter Scolari. He is the star of the show, and it's brought to you by Benzo Bush Motorcar Corp. in Englewood, New Jersey. Peter, I love the show. What was your feel on opening night? What did you think? I just thought there was a buzz in that room.
A lot of nerves, a lot of excitement, a lot of people there. The two of the Berra sons were there last night. Fortunately, as we discussed off air, I found out about that after.
Would that have freaked you out if you knew they were there?
A little bit, yeah. You know, I'm hard to. It's hard to break my concentration, but not impossible. And we've had some shows. We had Diane Munson the other day come to see Thurman's Widow. For folks who haven't yet seen the show, and I say yet because I want folks to come out and see this, and without it being a big spoiler alert, we touch on some things that are not traditional in plays, you know, about athletes or sports plays. There's some pretty dark stuff, some pretty challenging stuff. It's a work of fiction, but it's predicated on a lot of real history in sports. And Arlene Howard was there, Elston Howard's widow, and it's meaningful. It's touching. It's a little scary at times. Very funny play. And last night, opening night, that's a big deal for us. I mean, it's not quite the same as opening day at Yankee Stadium. These guys have been playing through spring training, and it's not that opening day or opening night is just another game or another show. But we have people pretty close up to us at the Circle and the Square.
Yeah, they're right on top of you. If you look at Peter right now, and you've known him for years, he's been on television and movies, you don't look like Yogi Berra at all, but you kind of transform into him. And it's not just the way you look. You kind of transform the way you talk, and the look even happens, too. How difficult was that, and did you spend any time with Yogi? Spent
some time with Yogi. Did a lot of research, but a lot that I didn't have to do because I grew up in the greater New York area. I was born in New Rochelle, raised in Scarsdale. It's a fact that even my dad, as a young attorney, did some work for Elston Howard, for Rocky Graziano, Matt Snell, some sports guys, because word got around that this was a former All-American athlete and a good guy with a vowel at the end of his name. And so he became connected a little bit. He didn't become a sports attorney or anything like that. So I didn't have to do a lot of research to know about. I saw Yogi play. I saw these guys with one foot out of the dugout smoking cigarettes at the third baseline back in 1960, 61 as a young kid, as a little boy, really. But when I got a chance to meet Yogi with my wife, Tracy Shane, who plays Carmen Berra, with incredible grace and charm and humor, if I may say. Otherwise, I'll be sleeping on the couch tonight. Meeting Yogi Berra changed everything for me.
How so?
Well, you know, we know the Yogi sort of that's in our bones. Guy who says some funny things, says things funny. A guy who is a great competitor and a warrior. We've all seen the footage of him jumping into Don Larson's arms after the World Series, the perfect game in a World Series, which will never be done again. So we know an iconic guy, but I got to tell you, Michael, when you get up close to the guy and he looks you in the eyes, and maybe you've had this experience.
He's a good man.
He's a good man. He's a deep guy. This is an intense guy, and you might say a repository of so much history. And for me as an actor, you know, my stock in trade is not data. It's not how a guy walks and talks. That's part of what I have to, you know, get accomplished. But my stock in trade is stealing a bit of somebody's soul and then finding a way to get it out to an audience and affecting an audience. Either I'm making them laugh, or I'm telling them a story, or I'm doing all of the above. And this guy looked right into me. And as some of your viewers and listeners may have already gathered, it takes a lot to shut me up. You ask me a question, I find, you know, I'm going on and on, but I tell you, I couldn't speak around the guy.
Now, we're talking with Peter Scolari. I was just told in my ear by our producer, Ryan Hurley, that, and we'll cover this story a little bit later on, we'll try to make some phone calls, that Alex Rodriguez has just dropped his lawsuit against Major League Baseball. which would lead you to believe that he is serving the 162-game suspension. And he's dropped it against the Major League Baseball Players Association as well. So that, to me, would be a total capitulation on his part. And he's not going to show up at spring training, I would think, and he's not going to be playing. So that we're talking about a baseball movie. And
it's exciting for me to be here. And, to be honest with you, to be on your show and hear it as it breaks.
Yeah, so interesting stuff.